broadcast live.
Hey, Father of Zen.
It's good, bro.
What's up, brother?
None.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming through to see us.
Thank you for having me.
Backyard.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what it is.
Lovely space.
Thank you, my G.
Very
Thank
zen.
you. Very zen. You know what I mean? What up, Kobe? What up, Sipo? What up, X? You good?
Bro.
Easy, man. Nyabonga,
sir.
man. Thanks for coming through. You know,
For having me.
Father of Zen.
Yes, sir.
The album is out already.
Out everywhere, available. Go out and get it.
Kid X from Karakara to Kid X from today. What is the difference?
I think Kid X today has grown, has uncovered more layers of himself. I think Karakara was a learning curve for me, you know what I mean? We were obviously experimenting with like what hip hop and Kwaito would sound like as an entire fusion on its own. And I mean, we've done so many experiments since then with hip hop, and yeah, I think the Kid X now is pretty much certain about the things that he's doing, and he's more intentional.
Yeah. I mean, I just started with like the album, you know, Father of Zen. Your first line is, I think it's just the little conversation we just had now. Your first line is almost like stating, you must know how to approach me.
Yeah.
Your first line in the album is like, know how to approach me. You're like, I vow to not let any man's opinion of my work ever affect my truth.
Yes, sir.
Why was it important just to start with that line?
Because I wanted to make it clear. So for me, when I create music, I create from a different place altogether, right? I'll make an example about a painter, Picasso, Pablo Picasso. When he pours his heart into a canvas, and then he has maybe an exhibition and he says, yo, come in and come and witness what I've been working on for the past couple of months. You come in there, you've got your wine glass, you've got whatever else, and you there to bear witness to what this man has expressed, you know what I mean? There's no place for judgment in that. You're there to soak it in and to seek to understand the expression more than to critique and say, why asebenzisela makhalaso? Why is he using long strokes? Why is he, you know what I mean? So for me, I create from that perspective because that's what music is for me. When I listen to my favorite artists, it's like a report card to find out, where is he at right now? What's his headspace? What are the things that he's telling me and what am I picking up from that? But also more importantly, what am I picking up from what he's not telling me? You know what I mean? So I look at it from from both sides, from a duality perspective of like, okay, you are saying this, it means you are not saying this one. And I try and consume it as an entire thing altogether.
Yeah, that's it's like an old way of eating music.
Is it?
I mean,
is it an old way?
I mean, like, because we don't get a lot of body of work nowadays. You know, people give singles, push, and whatever the case be. You know what I mean? But your mind always still wants to read the same way, even in a single. I still want to read that song the same way. I still want to know. You know, you can't stop it because I know exactly what you're saying. You know. And maybe that explains the whole Picasso thing in you, because you say, I might be obsessed with the need to rewrite. How often do you go back and forth to change words when you are in your Picasso mode?
It happens a lot. And I change small details about it. So I'll change like a word that is a connecting word, you know what I mean? It's simply for, sometimes I might want to broaden the meaning of what I'm saying, you know what I mean? I edit a lot simply because sometimes you live with the music and you realize that what I've said has trapped me into like a specific reality. And maybe I want to I want to free myself, and I want it to mean more than just what I meant. I wanted to mean that, but so much more as well. So I'll change smaller phrases to the thing. But I mean, I've sat with the music for a long time, and I felt like the more I play it, the more I want to tweak. So at some point I decided, Yasin,
stop.
Hands off, yeah.
Even your was it like your double album? I remember, as a side note, I was listening to that, like I was overseas when I was listening to your double album, you know?
Yeah.
And even that, I remember you had songs that you had sat with for a long time also.
Yeah.
You know? So that's really your process. You kind of...
It is my process, but I mean, that's how it's happened for the past couple of projects, you know what I mean? But ideally, I still want to explore a situation whereby I lock in for like 2 weeks and I'm giving you my thought process in that period of time, and then I walk away from it and the engineers take over and we put it out, you know what I mean? Because I think just being able to capture my real-time thoughts for me is an important thing. I feel like sometimes putting out music that I captured, or putting out music that speak to just my ideas from like 2-3 years back in today's climate is not always, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I think it reflects like your journey. So I still feel like it's not all bad, you know what I mean? It captures a specific stage of your life. And I feel like for me, the whole journey is important to capture. It's not just important to capture your moment at the podium, you know what I mean? People need to know how you got there.
I guess you kind of go, when you're this place, you hardly need the hype. So I guess you don't need to rush this, you know?
Yeah.
Are you gonna complete this 3,000-piece puzzle that you keep talking
I'm
about?
done, actually.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. I wrote that song during lockdown, early lockdown. So I've got a 6,000-piece puzzle that I haven't touched right now, simply because I don't have like I need to get like the right size of board that I can start building it on, you know what I mean? But puzzling is fun for me. It's relaxing.
That's crazy.
For real, because there's a lot of
I've never met anyone that does it. And I've watched it on TV, you know, I've been doing it. You know, I never met a brother on some, you know, that puzzles me. But
Fana, there's a lot of fulfillment that comes with finding the right puzzle piece and it connecting mawifara. The fulfillment is, you know what I mean?
Oh gosh, I got frustrated with the 20-piece.
No way. No way,
but
bro.
Because it's the mind that you have, you know what I mean? That's crazy, you know? But also, I mean, like that kind of, I mean, you do say that like you learned or you picked up your first kind of 500-piece puzzle from your mother, right?
From my gran.
Your gran?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, cool. But you mention it like it's your mother on the raps, right?
Not really, no. I said iskreza. Iskreza would mean...
Yeah, but I know what you... Okay, iskreza, of course.
Yeah.
So, but you know, shit is...
I feel you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So your grandmother got you into the puzzles? She
got us into puzzles, yeah. Super young, I think I was 4, 5, if I can remember correctly.
Jeez, like your grandmother's like, she must have thought that you some Chinese children.
Bro, and you know what I mean? She wasn't far off. So, yeah, man. So we did it back then, you know what I mean? Yeah. Completed it, put it on like a board, and we drove. We were living in Kalinin, Epitor.
Yeah.
She lived in Mamelodi. Drove, excited to show her now this complete thing. Fana, we parked the car outside her crib, carry the thing out. Mustn't get a gate in. Shattered, everything.
Oh no.
Devastating. So I've never, until I did, I'd never gotten a chance to show her a complete puzzle of this is what you gave me. and this is what I've done with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think 4 years ago, on one of her birthdays, I took a complete 2,000-piece puzzle that we'd completed, framed it nicely, took it to her. Found out she was pleasantly surprised. She couldn't believe it.
Yeah. And she's passed now because you say the missing pieces.
She's late.
Your missing piece of the puzzle. I like how you put that in the line, you know?
Yeah, she's late, definitely. But I think, obviously, the value that she taught us with I'm a puzzle is I would have never seen it coming, and only really got into it when I started actively just getting back into puzzles.
Do you think it kind of taught you a certain level of calm, analysis, patience, almost because now that I even see your output of records, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I talk about you had songs from here, it looks like, you keep on looking for the right pieces to kind of get the project out, right?
Cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You've literally kind of applied it in your life, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what she was trying to teach me. To say, you know what I mean? There's pieces from every area of your life that you need to piece together but also, just more importantly, from a family perspective. I'm a family, they tend to get scattered.
Yeah.
There tend to be internal feuds in families and whatever the case is. So I think on another level, she was just trying to also just teach us the importance of just keeping the family together through whatever happens, you know what I mean? And yeah, man.
You know what's crazy? I've got a saying, I always say that God is gonna give you a lot of tools, but there's only one tool that's gonna let you do what you need to do. The other tools are just for distraction, for your ego, for vanity, for you to think that you're the shit, you know what I mean? But if you don't find that one tool that literally is the one that's gonna develop your life, I could say, I could get an opportunity in mining and I could get a contract for 10 million right now, but it's gonna be done in 2 years because it's not my tool. I can get into music and I can do what I'm doing and I can make maybe $1 million every year, but I can make $1 million for the rest of my life because it's my tool. Do you know what I mean? You know? So so that puzzle for me is almost the same thing. It's you find the right tools to kind of draw the picture.
Yeah.
But the difference with the puzzle is that you know what the end looks like because they've shown you the picture. But you got to find all these pieces.
Yeah.
But the thing in life is that in your mind you know what your end is, what you want your end to look like. And then you got to find the right, because if you digress a little bit, if you kind of go, yo, I want to act because that's where the dough is at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I know everybody, it could, even if it's a small thing, even if you try to do it for 2 weeks or a month or 3 months, it'll probably deliberate the process of what you were building that was probably going to be ready in a year's time, but now it's probably going to be pushed out by 3 or 4 years. Just that 3 months of you picking up that wrong piece of the puzzle, that's not really who you are. Because in the end of the day, we all have completed the puzzle of who we are in our subconscious and our gut. Do you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Phew.
That's true, bro.
Man, now I wish your grand taught me. I'm straight.
You're learning it through the project, so I'm passing you know what I mean? The lessons on.
There's a lot though about you though that is very enigmatic, if that's the word,
Yeah.
And it's coming together for me now, because it's not that you a watcher.
Yes.
You a watcher.
Yeah.
You watch, and based on what you've seen, you move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I sometimes feel like it's one of those traits where I have a love-hate relationship with, you know what I mean? Because sometimes I inform myself that I don't want to know what's going on. I just want to go out there, you know what I mean? So an example would be on a rap song where there's going to be 10 niggas on the song, I don't want to hear anyone's verse. If you want to send me a song where you want me, Fana, mute your verse. I don't want to know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because once I know what you did, it affects now how I'm approaching, you know what I mean? Normally, I'd rather go in blind, you know what I mean?
What's your star sign? Sorry,
I'm a Libra.
What date is that?
13 October.
Wow. Okay, you share my day though.
Oh yeah?
I'm 13 April.
Oh, okay.
I'm exactly the way that.
No?
I don't want to know what everyone else is doing in the world.
Let me just, dog. Yeah.
But I want to know that like I'm doing me, and if it impacts someone else positively, I'm grateful.
Yeah. My wife often fights with me in terms of the fact that it's so bad that I don't even watch people's stories on IG. Like,
oh gosh. I don't even want to watch reality shows.
I'm terrible. Nami, I couldn't care less, dog. You know what I mean?
I don't even want to have a conversation. I don't even want my wife to go, did you see so-and-so? I'm like,
bro.
I don't want to know.
Fana, it feels very self-obsessed on some level, you know what I mean? But I think that's how I'm wired, and you know what I mean? I have to embrace it. I can't run away.
Yeah, because you've got your own path.
Yeah.
Isolated path, you know?
Yeah.
One thing I see about you, and one thing that's consistent about you, and I think has been consistent about you for a long time, is the ability to create great music with Moozlie, you know, from Fatel, which was one of my favorite songs from her, and even like Jukebox now that you guys just did. What is the music chemistry between you guys? Can we expect the best of both worlds, you know?
Yeah, we spoke about that, funny enough.
Is it?
Yeah, just in terms of maybe potentially putting together like a 5-track EP, Nyana. I think based on our foundation and the school that we come from, you know what I mean? For me, when I do tap into that pocket of records, it becomes a no-brainer.
Yeah,
it's like, because I will appeal to a certain demographic, and then when I'll need someone to represent the opposite of that and speak to young girls and speak to girls who like dressing up, who dream big, who've got that feisty energy. For me, she captures that perfectly, you know what I mean? And I think it works. The chemistry in the music is there, you know what I mean? I'm able to understand what she's gonna bring on the record. She's able to understand what I need her to do on a song, and she'll always deliver. And I think the 3 songs that we've done so far speak to exactly that, you know what I mean? So. And maybe there'll be an EP. We'll see.
That would be dope, because she's also highly competitive, and she doesn't. I've never met a person who. I just have a Zulu word for it, like agazbegi pants.
At all.
Agazbegi pants. She's
bro.
Totally confident. Yeah. And she's a go-getter. You know what I mean? And that's another thing about the two of you guys. It's like you're like 2 different personalities.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're like 2 different personalities, and there's the collaboration power of the music when it comes through is just consistent. And although like you both have a relationship with Cash Time, but you guys have literally kept that energy in the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was listening to Haigangan, and I was just thinking about your writing process. I mean, I wonder if like earlier on you just talked about how you changed words that connect, you know, and like the rapid flow on that, you know, in the vernacular, you even change the tone of your voice a bit. You just go in, man. And I was like, yo, in that studio when you were doing that, were you reading that? Do you know it off by heart? You know, I mean, that was one song for me that I was like, yo, this nigga rap though, you know.
Out of all songs,
I mean, it's like
I feel
and
you,
I'm not like rap like, yo, that's the most lyrical song in the project. I'm just saying
intensity-wise.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I feel you.
You know, what was did you? How was that? Was that one take? Could you even do that in one take? So there's magic in that I like. It's that thing that I want to find. How was it done?
So, funny enough, I have this struggle. I want to call it a struggle purposefully, because sometimes my mind and how I want to flow is way ahead of what I'm able to actually enunciate with my mouth, you know what I mean? So it's almost like I have to do certain exercises to like have you ever sat back and thought about a guy like Twista? What does he do to like prepare for like, you know what I mean, his rapid flow? And for me, a lot of the times, I think I trap myself in like how I write, in the sense that I'll write so many words that when I have to go in and deliver, I don't have the lung capacity. You know what I mean? So it puts me in a tough position whereby I feel like before I even step into the studio, fanamele your trainee comrades. And just make sure that there's no gap between what my thoughts want to do and what I can actually execute.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that specific song, I retook, especially that first verse, a number of times. I retook that thing so many times because it needed to be seamless. I needed to be able to breathe in pockets whereby you wouldn't pick it up. But at the same time, I like to do this thing whereby I connect my voice throughout the entire verse, so there's no like empty breath. So it sounds like an instrument that's constantly just on, you know what I mean? And I mean, I did it to the best of my ability. Even now, if I play it, I still feel like, let me go back in. And you know what I mean?
You're real. That's crazy.
Yeah, but for me, I've always just felt like, you know what? On these trap songs, the trend is how fast you can go. You know what I mean? And I feel like I needed to just bring that to the table because I think the energy of the audience that enjoys trap really enjoy just the rapid. Actually hear what is being said, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to obviously put that on the record and to sort of tick that box and to do a trap song the right way, you know what I mean? And yeah, man, that's pretty much Aiganane for me. I enjoyed making that record.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was. I mean, I heard that first verse, I was like, yo, stop now. Don't you get that emotional thing where you kind of go, where your mind just wants to do it in one take emotionally? And you know, and your ears doesn't want to hear the mistakes of the one take. You know what I mean? The ears literally just want to hear, I did it. You just want to walk out there and say, I did it in one take.
Fana, that thing, I suffer from that a lot, you know what I mean? And especially now that I'm creating my music like super sober, you know what I mean? Like super sober, and now I'm counting on like my regular everyday ear to perform at like ridiculous ultra hearing levels, you know what I mean? And I guess it takes like some getting used to. It takes practice. It takes like really just refining it and working at it. But yeah.
Is there a reason why you're recording super sober? What, did you quit drinking or what's your story?
Yeah, there is a reason. I just felt like as a creator, whatever you ingest, right, has a spiritual component to it. And for me, I guess I wanted to create from a perspective of like my spirit, unaltered, next. It's, you know what I mean? Because I mean, for the longest time, Fana, we've dabbled into like your lean, you know what I mean? I remember 2012, 2013, lean was like, the studio ingredient that you needed. Like if you were wasting time if you stepped into the studio without lean, you know what I mean? And it had its effect. My dental situation will never be the same. Like I live to see it every day, like the scars of that.
Real?
Yeah, but most importantly also just on my health, I feel like it slowed me down. in like a lot of respects, you know what I mean? Which could be a good thing, but it just affected so many things. So yeah, I had to quit that, but I've quit that. It's been a long time now. I think I left it in like 2013. But obviously there was still other things like uchwala, you know what I mean? Liquor was also just a situation that played a huge role in like the music that we made and the energy that we gave off, you know what I mean? And then there was weed as well, which now it played a huge role whereby while creating, you started feeling like, yo, I don't trust myself in the studio if I don't have, if I can't smoke basically. Before, you know what I mean? So it became a crutch, mfana. And for me, I felt like, nah, something is off, you know what I mean? And I felt like I need to put myself in a position whereby if I get a call, kusasa, but mfana, we flying you in to work on the new soundtrack for, let's say, Black Panther 2. You're gonna be in studio with Rihanna. You're gonna be in studio with M. You touching down and we picking you from the airport and you're going straight to that session. You figure that out, fun.
Yeah.
You're man, nada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, nah, dog, it's not gonna work.
That's
I need
crazy.
to be, you know what I mean? I need to be self-sufficient when I'm in the studio. I need to be ultra confident and believe that in my natural state, we can go. You know what I mean?
Because that's your tool also.
That's my tool, and I have to back it.
Sure.
I have to back it. I can't leech it onto other things. So, yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. You know, like I say, you got this dangerous flow going on, and then you throw traditional songs like, I don't know if I'm... Umraro, you know?
Yeah.
Sounds like a guy's name, Mlaro.
Yeah.
What does Mraro mean, firstly? And like, and where does this whole, you kind of always throw this, you know? One must have thought that it was a trend, but it seems like it's your thing to always kind of go that traditional way. What inspires that?
Yeah, so Umraro means a riddle, right? It's like I don't want to call it a rustation. It's not a rustation. A riddle. It's like a play on words, for lack of a better word. And for me, I think traditional music really resonates with me because it speaks to me on a soul level, if I can put it like that. You know what I mean? Like it taps into just a different level of what you as a person are or identify with. So for me, I mean, I think just this pocket of like doing songs like Abomraro, I think it became more appealing to me when we did a song like Umfazwe Pep from the previous album. You know what I mean? The beat was very upbeat. But if you listen to just like the vibe of like Nota singing the chorus, it's very, I don't know what subgenre it is, but it's very cultural. It's something very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think before that, I'd probably dabbled on it on the mixtape. If you listen to, there's a song called Yonki Mali Lap. And the chorus, Fune Mali Tais, Fune Chocho, Nale Yom Khol. Yonke Mali attack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got that Mahotela Queens type of aspiration to it. In this, even though the voice doesn't really get there, but you sort of understand the idea of like, yo, this is where it's going. You know what I mean? So on the previous album, we obviously touched on it and did songs like Abum Todo Muntu. We did songs like Mama, which really borrow from like the traditional sound.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's a very just interesting pocket, man. And more so because now I got to link up with like some Ndebele artists that I thought were insanely talented, you know what I mean? That specific song features Lilo NTK. I think he's the next, you know what I mean? Like, in terms of Ndebele artists, Pana, like, he's a different level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it features a kid called Thokozani Kabini. He's a 14-year-old kid. He's nominated for Satma already.
Wow.
You know what I mean? He's about to drop a project. I think his single dropped on the day my album dropped as well. He dropped the single. And he's the future, you know what I mean? It features also Ubab Masilela from Emalahlen. He's a senior statesman who, I think he had like a viral Nyana moment during COVID, you know what I mean? He had some song about COVID, you know what I mean? And that totally took off, you know what I mean? So for me, I just think about it and I think, damn, this Pops is like a senior statesman, and this late in his life, we are able to like really give him a moment that he's probably been working his entire life for, you know what I mean? And for me, that gives me like a lot of gratitude to just be able to do a song that can uplift so many people and give them like a different platform and allow them to further their dreams. It also features Tsecho AMG, almighty guitarist, you know what I mean? So it's an all Ndebele lineup, that song. So it's a big moment for just the Ndebele culture as a whole.
Yeah. So we're talking about Zen. Why did you call your daughter Zen? And obviously that for me was obviously connected. I was talking about how you're talking about your meditating process, and I've never heard a person in Zulu at yo, ntonsi yoga meditating penelpite okangapagati. There was some other shit, you know. I love how you done took this westernized shit, you know, and you just told it in Zulu, as in tati yoga mat, mongayazi yoga mat yobona pambili, you know.
Fully.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the reason I named my daughter Zen was in 2016, now, after I'd worked on 3/4 pace, I struggled with like just being present in the moment because my process of writing music involved me writing in my head up until that point. So from like 2009 until 2015, I would write in my head. So in every situation, I'd always be in my head, just, you know what I mean? Thinking of lyrics. And I think it got to a point whereby I was unable to be present.
Yeah.
There was too much going on in my head. There was clutter, there was everything. So as I got introduced to meditation. Autia Musakil. He just obviously gave me like a brief, yo, boy, when's Arrange, you know what I mean? And I sort of went down that rabbit hole and I haven't stopped. I meditate every single day.
How long?
I normally do like 20 minutes. On a good day, I'll do 20, you know what I mean? Today I did 10, but I think I got what I needed from it. And for me, what it does for me is it allows me to create the gap between my thinking self and my observing self. You know what I mean? And to not always identify with the things that I think or the things that I feel. To just be an observing self and to sort of realize that I might be feeling sad or I might be feeling happy, but that's not who I am. That's just an emotion that's passing on, you know what I mean, across me. And to always just have that perspective of like, yo, I'm the guy in the back who's just watching. I cannot be affected by anything. I'm just observing my experience through life. And that's what meditation does for me. So, I mean, for me, when I found out I was having a kid, my wife said, yo, you can name her, you know what I mean? You give her the first name. And for me, Zen just felt like, yo, it just felt like, yo,
Zen.
You know what I mean? Not even Zen.
Yeah, I know Zen.
But Zen. Funny, people always ask, yo, what is it short? Pelele, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it just allowed me to like really live it, and it became a real thing once I named my daughter Zen, you know what I mean? So on the song Vuke Sofeni, I sort of speak about my morning routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that song, by the way. Just the delivery, everything.
Yeah. Shout out. So I did that intentionally, and I put it on that type of beat, and I wanted to say it in a language that most South Africans are gonna be able to understand, because I want it to be a conversation that we can have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think we place so little value on like just how you wake up and how that determines the rest of your day. Like too many of us wake up ngabo 3 ekuseni uvuka so gijima mfana so yobilisa amanzi so wenzani in and you've barely like grounded yourself or like connected with like just yourself in that moment, and just reflected and internalized everything, and then set out your goals or your plan for the day, you know what I mean? So that song pretty much just details that entire thing of like, this is what I do for the first hour of my day. And yeah, it does amazing things for me. Once I follow that routine, it really sets me up to have like a champion day.
It's crazy. I do it every morning also. For me, it takes me more than 10 minutes to love myself.
Way more, no?
So for me, I could sit for 30, 40 minutes still, you know, and I don't want to be interrupted. I sit right there. Yeah. And I just sit and
funny enough, when I walked in, I was like, oh, this space for meditation. I would lose it.
Straight, you know, I mean, like I sit. But for me, what it is, it's like, it gives me value. It gives me a sense of I feel like, well, this is where I come from. I feel like this is who I am. I feel like, wait, man, I'm so powerful. I can feel this moment. It's like, I'm in this moment, in this second, like as you watching this
in
right
real
now.
Time.
If you can think about your mind and you think, I can literally like, it's, you know, like when you're looking for like a pen that's covered by by a bunch of papers. It's like your mind is always covered by a bunch of papers, but that there's pen, that pen that can draw what your life needs to be. And all that you need is just to be conscious of your thoughts. So when I'm sitting in that moment, I'm just like in that moment and I'm just going, oh my gosh, I can breathe. Oh my gosh, I'm under the sky. Oh my gosh, I'm under the trees. Oh my gosh, I can hear. You know, my daughter listens to this baby, Shakara. And the other day I said, I'm so grateful I could hear this too. I'm so tired of this shit though. You know what I mean? But like, it's just gratitude.
Gratitude, Mfana. That's the best way to put it. You know what I mean?
It's gratitude because you listening to yourself as an instrument, and as an instrument you are feeling things as yourself. You know, at that time. You know. So it's that powerful, you know. And by the time you get into the world, everything else that brings itself in the world, you are going in the world as a contributor, not as a receiver. Because you've connected with the base of yourself.
Cool.
So a lot of us wake up, and that's why, you know, there's so much challenges, because a lot of us wake up and we want to be everything. Because we haven't found the base of ourselves. So how do I give you myself if I don't even know what myself is? Because I've been like waking up and kichimile, mvugile, ngafunda, and I did all these things that the world says I got to do to be great. But I haven't done the one thing that like my body and my mind says, I need to feel great too. You know what I mean?
Bro.
So what we do, we chase the doing great and we forget the feel great. And the feel great is inside. It's not outside. It's not what you're wearing.
Internal.
It's like,
that's true.
It's inside. It's not, and as long as you looking out there and you're going, yo, I gotta buy this, that's why I don't even have a car. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a car would fuck up my mind. Especially of the type of car I'd be driving. It will fuck up my mind because here I am inside this big machine that seems like it's taking control of me. And when people see me in this car, it creates a perception of now this car is controlling the perception about me. You know? Hectic. So by the time I'm sitting with you and you don't know me, literally like the car has created the perception and you don't even know who I am. And and because I'm not looking like a Porsche Carrera, that is overtaken me to literally go, this is who I am. So you can go.
Yeah, you've already started sketching.
Because already like you kiddies. So I've already perceived you around kiddies. So for me, my struggle is to really show you who my truth is. Because if I can show you who my truth is, you would know that like you don't need to compete with me. You would know that I will never steal from you. You know what I mean? You will know that I actually also want you to do well, because if you do well, I feel good, and that does something for me. So I want you to do well so I can feel good selfishly. It's not about you.
I feel you, totally.
You know, it's raining now as an FYI side note, because we're talking the truth right now. You know what I mean?
Mfana, that's crazy. And the crazy thing is, Mfana, our primary reality is internal.
Yeah.
So for me, I approached this album with that understanding of there's so many things going on in the world, no? But I didn't want to make this album pointing out, I wanted to internalize, because I realized that if we're going to fix anything, it has to, if I want change in the world, as cliche as it is, man
in the mirror.
If I change whatever I find wrong with myself, the things that I look at start to change. You know what I mean?
And this is the power of music, though. And that's why I say people don't have to make this type of music to get a message. How deep is I'm looking for the man in the mirror?
Bro.
I'm asking him to change his ways. Do you understand? Do you understand?
And that song went over heads.
It went over the head.
Went over heads.
It literally like it's so inside. You know what I mean?
Fana, it's hectic, dog. It's hectic.
So for me, I'm like, the more you can, and you know, Michael Jackson, like, this is how deep he was. He said, I'm not gonna go to sleep, because if I go to sleep, the ideas of the songs are gonna go to Prince. Because Prince was his competitor at the time, right? So he was saying, if I sleep, I'm gonna miss these ideas that'll go to Prince. How deep is that? That's like 80s talk, bro.
Dog.
That's 80s talk. And everybody thought this guy is a weirdo, right?
He understood other things. He understood things from a different level altogether.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
But for me, I feel like, about this chat that we just had now.
Yeah.
Imagine, Fana, in a 2-room somewhere, Alex, and kids are chopping about this.
But they're gonna now.
You know what I mean?
They're gonna now. These kids are there now.
That's important, dog. It can't, this information or this dialogue cannot only exist in English.
Hey.
You know what I mean? We have to bring it right next to some of the most vulgar lyrics in vernac.
Yazi mabathini ukuthi thina ngesilungu bayibiza ukumeditate abathula uzilalele. Zilalele. Already we know this.
We know it, dog.
But they call it meditation. You know, it's just they don't say thula uzilalele uhlale phansi ku yoga mat. No, but thula uzilalele. Hlala lapha uzilalele.
But they don't explain it enough, because they leave you with that, like Toulouse mama.
Yeah, because obviously there must be a broader context, because remember before we were living in these dense population areas, if we lived in rural areas, Mabat Toulouse Lalele, you weren't gonna be around another 20, 30 people. It's just like it's just like your little tribe there.
Yeah.
So Mabat Toulouse Lalele Vele Vele, you can't be with everybody.
Yeah, you segregate.
So by default there's that, but we in a world that's so dense that Mabat Toulouse Lalele, we are Toulouse Lalele ungene ku Instagram uzumsi.
Fana, I was on next.
Ish.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Ish.
It's hectic.
Ish. Talking about conversations, you know, and I'm not gonna mention this because I don't wanna, because of my proximity with everyone, you know, in the industry, and because I also understand how people like turning things around, and I don't want to mention names, right? I sent a message to Solo and I said, yo man, what you said there was very controversial.
texted me. He texted me and said, Father, I just got a call from Slick. It's hectic.
And I said, and he said he told you that, like, when he sent you the verse, he said you might write me out your album. Obviously, like I said, proximity. You gotta go listen to the album to know what we're talking about. Proximity. I'm not comfortable talking about it because I know how people will receive it, even if I'm not intending it for it to go that way, right? When you got the verse, though, what made you keep the verse? Even after Solo said, I think you're gonna write me out the album.
Yeah. For me, I had to understand his intention. You know what I mean? Firstly, the song came from conversations that we'd always have. Whether we linking up for a braai. I remember the most recent one was when we were Gasenzo for a baby shower yak. And these are always chats we're having, just about gender inequality, about the struggle between men and women, you know what I mean? And what is factual is the fact that the black woman is at the bottom of the hierarchy. But now when you juxtapose that with the fact that the black woman is possibly the most powerful of this entire hierarchy that we speak of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yet is the most suppressed and is the most overlooked. We had to sit and look at, as black men living in 2021, how are we affecting change? How are we moving? Are we moving, being informed by like how things were done in the past, and we simply just keeping up the status quo, and we're not really looking up to say, how does this affect people on a human level? You know what I mean? And it came off from conversations like that. So naturally, when we went into studio, we wanted to make a record that would symbolize the fact that we're not 19, we're not 25. We were born in 88, you know what I mean? And in the current climate, that makes us elder statesmen. And we have to speak into Zwagala.
Yeah.
So then it happened. And for me, I felt like his expression is his expression.
Yeah.
His intention is to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I have to respect where he's coming from.
Yeah.
I cannot silence him and say, "Eish boy, so nyatelela, unganyatelela," because that waters down his expression and what he deeply feels inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reality is, the song, because of the nature and the sensitivity of the topic, it's gonna offend certain people.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that comes with just what the song is. And for me, I felt like, because I did have moments where I was like, "Ish, how do I break it down to solo? That's boy, hard, man.
Yeah.
You'll keep feeling the love verse." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But then I thought, that's the equivalent of every other person who was silenced, who goes through the very same thing we are discussing in the song. You know what I mean? And I feel like this conversation needs to be had.
Yeah. You know, I said that, like, I agreed with everything that he said, you know? And I think that I was just saying, you know, there's, as men, you know, I just feel that, like, we can't tell women how powerful they are.
Yeah.
All we need to do is just sit and keep quiet and let them do them. But the thing is that we want to get ourselves involved in women's lives.
Yeah.
You know, we want to try, like, hero women and empower. We want to empower women. We want to, we don't do that. And that's the only thing, that's the most powerful thing about a woman's power.
It doesn't need to be.
It doesn't say it's powerful. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
So I've always, look, and like, you know, what we talked about, how our conversation ended up with him is that, like, I said, I know you mentioned names in the verse, but you gotta remember that, like, when you even talk about GBV, There's a level of education that a GBV it means to a context in a say a person who's in a rural space where there's a way where they treat women. There's GBV has another meaning.
Yeah.
When you come in the urban space, GBV has another meaning. And he came back with a very, very smart response, and he said, but let's say you're from the rural and I've taught you in the city that this is how girls do, or this is how this is how you mistreat a girl. Even if you go back to your tribe and your tribe goes, aye, whatever. But when it happens, you will know because you can't unlearn what you've heard. You can't unhear what he said. You can't unhear what you heard. So he was just trying to let me know that, like, yes, it's fair. We divided from a perspective of what does GBV mean, and from when you're on Twitter, social media, to when you say makhaya manje lana ukuthi like bathi umfazi uhlala lana and everything else. But
it's
even
deeply
if
embedded.
Yeah, but even if you've heard from me ku Twitter lapha ngithi mfana umfazi akamelanga yenze so and ubuya lapha, you can't unhear it.
Yeah.
So when it does happen and you can see it coming,
you feel something.
You know how to go, ay, sengiyayibona lena. This is when you grew up and it wasn't there. And I said, imagine these people that you're mentioning are literally probably like that divided from a space of context of how they grew up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But again, you know, I always say that like, you know, a wise man keeps quiet and watches women do their thing. If you just keep quiet and let a woman do her thing, you will literally see what happens. You don't need to tell. I don't know whether we need to tell women how powerful they are or whatever the case be. But I also feel that there's a huge insecurity with men.
There is.
The thing with women is that like they can express an insecurity. Men literally don't know how to express it, and they try to take it out on a woman because perceived that it's weak. You know what I mean? So it's. Man,
yeah, it's tough. I think the reason we want to sort of now try and let them know that, hey, you are powerful, it's us trying to make up for the fuckery.
Of course, I got to make up for the fuckery of my brother, my cousin, my friend, my uncle, my you know, we have a big job to we owe our women like huge apology for the guys that like have been close to us and we never said anything. Do you know what I mean? We do. But I also said to him, the world is going to be classed by opinion. Like, you know, in Indians where like you classed by wealth, we're going to be classed by opinion and understanding now.
Okay.
So when I speak on Twitter, I can't speak on Twitter because you might think a certain way. My parents raised me a certain way and we live from this place where so we have this class of thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
Then now I start asking, so all of a sudden we're going to move from classism from a money perspective to classism from a thought perspective. You know,
deep.
And that's why we got to now protect that. We're going to protect our children from being around people who think a certain way, or being around because you could be completely dirt poor, but you think a certain way that literally like is that even if I'm completely wealthy, I can go, you know the way this kid thinks. So we're going to move from a classism of money to a classism of thought. And that's why you cannot post on social media. Because social media has got so many people who've got different classes of thought. And you will never get a place of understanding when you have a conflict with the class of thought. That's why social media is so busy, because it's classes of thought that literally like come in different pockets. And that's why like, you know, people can join that gang. It's classes of thought. We are forming little classism.
Yeah.
And even if it's instant classism at the moment, but like the scars that it has on a person are as good as the scars of me trying to marry like a queen and I'm being told that I'm just the guy who's literally losing calm. So, you know, although it's instant,
I feel you.
do you understand? But in the person who's affected feels like their minds, they carry that thing in their mind for so long that they said, Yazin, when so classism now has become so instant. And self-esteem literally has become so easy to fuck with because of instant gratification on social media.
That's crazy.
So our classism, the classism of black people or mankind is thought now.
No?
It's not money now. Because you can have a super rich guy, but he's ratchet. You know, like, I'm funny. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he thinks, you know, you could have a super guy who's got nothing, but like, he's a gent, he's polite. You know, you like being around that person. Literally, classism is moving from material to thought. You know?
I like what you said, Mauti. We literally could keep quiet and just watch women do their thing, you know what I mean? And I think because we actually know what is right, like deeply, we have that innate knowing of like, this is what is right, you know what I mean? But how many people can tap into that? Like, how many people sit and really tune into themselves to know exactly, like, yo, this is when I'm moving in line with who I am. This is when I'm, you know what I mean, out of character, and I'm affecting society in so many ways because this is how I'm treating the woman. This is how I'm treating the girl child, you know what I mean? So it's tough, dog, because to reconcile it, we need to get people to tap into self.
You know, the woman problem for me is like the black problem.
The black and white.
Just the black as a race problem.
Okay.
Like for me, women are the most powerful consumer. All the platforms that women literally like are trying to communicate their issues to, who owns them? Men. You know? Now, if women literally like created their own, like women are the shoppers, women literally like have the highest percentage of shopping, women have the highest percentage of even interaction problems. It's the women that literally almost control everything. Women make guys buy this, but who owns everything? It's men. Now, if you flip it around and the women own it, then when the women stand up for their shit, they're standing up on the platforms they own. It's the same black problem. Black guys who are the biggest consumers, black people. And who are the guys that are always complaining about being mistreated, being underpaid, being this? It's black people. Now, if black people had their own shit, and then they was...
It's the exact same thing, you're right, dog.
You know?
We have a duality problem of like Abotaki are the women in the racial...
In the racial society,
we are the women. We are, you know what I mean?
And we take it out on our women because of how the world has literally treated us. And our women are like, but I'm carrying everything.
Yeah.
You know, on my back. I should be the person that you actually like, and because women are loving, it's like they still stick around if they stick around, you know?
But how do we repair that?
Hey man, I always think that, like, you know, if you think about it, even all these, and I don't want to like be like, this guy who's, big companies are built off like chauvinistic men. Hollywood is built of chauvinistic men. They are content creators. Do you know what I mean? A lot of things are built off men literally like building clubs, men clubs, where they make things happen. You dig? And those men are sometimes carried by a woman. Do you know what I mean? And they sometimes give those women limited power to get to their point and flip it around. Do you know? Because even if there's some type of corruption or something, if you had to give that to a woman, it's gonna be managed a bit better.
Cool.
You know what I mean? That's my view. I could be wrong. Women could be like, nigga, give it to me, you see shit. I don't know. But
definitely.
But like it's an unlearning. The world has been built by theoretically by male's perceptions, and that male perception wanted to create a space to hear the woman's voice. So it's the male perception that creates a voice for the woman. Let's hear the woman's voice. It's a male perception that creates a voice for black people. Let's hear, you know what I mean? Black people haven't gotten up and said, no, let's have our own voice. Let's build our own things.
It's like they own the mic. They're saying, okay.
Yeah, you know, I want, like, you know, affirmative action. Affirmative action is saying, or BE is saying, okay, white people, let's give the blacks just the mic just so they can also speak a bit. And the white people hand us the mic, you think? And then we go, yeah, we deserve to be here. And the white people are like, alright, cool, y'all are done. I say the most powerful thing will be when white people start buying from black companies the way black people are buying in white companies. I'm not even talking about black people buying black people things. I'm saying when white people start buying black things from black companies, the same way we buying white things, the same way we're going Gucci, Versace, advertising it like we're gonna get a Louis. Until white people are buying black things like that, there's no economic freedom. Y'all busy out there saying that about Taikaba's thing. I said, blacks don't have money, bro. Blacks hardly have money.
We don't.
They do credits, they do this, and who's built the credit systems? It's not a bunch of black people, or even if it is, who owns the credit systems? So even about Taikufun back thing, you don't have a credit system because Bazuk Doja. You know? There's a lot of backwardness, and we're not sitting here as black men going, you know, this world is a problem, and let's fight with our women. You know,
let me ask you this: like, what do you think? And this might be a very controversial question to pose, but the creator of the universe, no? What do you think his intention was with creating this scenario that we find ourselves in, whereby Umlungu dominates the black man? And on the flip side, if you look at, because for me now, I look at it as opposites. There's a war of opposites, right? In the same way that we are oppressing women, white is oppressing black.
Yeah.
Do you not feel like the fact that we are oppressing women and now experiencing oppression from the white man, do you not feel like there's a karmic energy about that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that if we had to stand arm in arm with our woman and go, we gonna fight this together because it starts in the house. If we're raising kids and my wife goes, okay, I see you going through this. Because this is what happened in work. And I'm a husband, and I go, my wife, I see you going. And then we literally find some type of calm. So how do we work together? Because what we do, that spills over to our kids.
Yes.
Our kids go, oh, this is what it is. But if literally the tension of the world literally makes us to keep fighting, our kids also grow up like hating. Our kids grow up with anger.
Yes.
Our kids meet their partners with the foundation of anger because they got that from their homes. And when they meet their partners, they don't have long relationships, or alternatively, they have toxic relationships because the world made our families angry. Now, because the commercial world has made us dependent on it, if we allow the commercial world to control the emotion, what happens with us in the house, when we said, I want to make this money so I can build my house or work in this place, now you're using, this world is literally now making you have conflicts in your house. And your children are watching this. And your children don't know stability. So your children literally meet someone else and it becomes a cycle of that. So for me, the world doesn't change by going to the world. The world changes by coming to the house. That's why it's so important for us to try our best to make kids with people that we want to be with. Do you know what I mean? It's so important for us to make kids, to try to make kids with people we want to be with. And when we're with them, it must be worth us to fight to stay with them. Do you know what I mean? Because in the end, you know what it does, the tighter the thread is, if Noma Kelwan is doing the same thing, and this whole street is like black families that literally are together and are helping each other. Those kids literally when they grow, they literally gonna play together, and when there's opportunities, they're gonna create those opportunities just off maybe 10 houses in one street.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And what that does, that's gonna influence the next gen. But what's gonna happen is that if you come from the other street and you're not like these other kids in this street, you literally are gonna struggle to be in the circle. And we're gonna struggle to also understand your circle. And what does that mean? That's the thought classism. Do you dig?
That's true, dog.
So I know it's been said, but family is the only thing that can save Black people. And like almost like being together, mother and father, raising the kids. Family is the only thing that can save Black people. You know?
That's true.
And remembering that like when you go out to work for a Western company, it's helping you to take care of that family. It's not making you come back to think that like to think that you're bigger than that family. Do you know what I mean?
That, I think, is very important, dog. Because I think that's where a lot of the disconnect happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just the understanding of roles and the understanding that you holding down this end of the fort and I'm holding down this end of the fort, you know what I mean? We tend to, I guess, put too much weight on whoever is going out, and now he becomes now, you know what I mean?
And we also try cover, I mean, let's just say you go out there, there's temptation, this, that's a weakness. Let's just say you're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
And you try bring that weakness to the house, and you try overcompensate with that weakness by trying to be like an asshole, because you know what you're hiding. You know, it's bothering you so much that like you're overcompensating, that you're trying to find a reason why I did that shit outside. So you literally like creating a problem in the house. You literally like are disrupting the peace.
Yeah.
You know, something that you did outside, literally like now is the peace outside is disrupting the peace inside, because it's your conscious. It's you knowing you weak. You know what I mean? Because you ain't, I mean, unless you've agreed to his temple, you know?
Yeah.
But if you say I'm committing to you to do this, you know that like if you always dipping and diving, you know you're weak. It's a weakness.
It definitely says a lot about the person, you know what I mean?
And if you can come back and say it's a weakness, then you gotta get out of that shit and say that's not my thing, because there's nothing wrong with you being out of relationships and being with different women, but don't make a woman
put yourself in now.
Yeah, don't make a person carry a promise that like you don't want to live up to also.
That's
Do you know
true.
what I mean?
That's true, dog. I think for me it's also important, like this exact chat that we had, you know what I mean? It's not a popular chat in hip hop.
Yeah.
The popular narrative is single parenthood. Fana mina big new ending, so na so. But I mean,
and what does that do to that person who came from that also?
You know what I mean? It destroys them.
When you have that conversation with them and you go, yo, I got a kid, my wife, how they almost look at you like, yo.
Yeah. Fortunate. It's fortunate.
Yeah, or even if
bougie,
or
very,
well, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand how twisted we've become?
Yeah.
Where someone should be going, I aspire, I want to. Now they're looking at it like, hey, we want that, or like, you know, like,
yeah.
I mean, I know, you understand?
It becomes a fight in a corner, because some people might feel like this guy thinks his life is together.
Yeah.
We're gonna, you know what I mean?
And that's how bad it's become with us. You dig? That's how divided. And when you talk about like history, but like that's the power of racism and apartheid. Till this day, that shit lives. I mean, Marcus Garvey was saying that the only way we're gonna redeem ourselves is through our minds, not through any political freedom, it's through our minds. That's how we're only gonna be free. He said that like almost 100 years ago, bro. Where are our minds today? Our minds literally don't see you when you're saying my wife, they literally go, yo. They don't respect that.
Yeah.
They don't aspire to that. They aspire to everything else in the world that literally doesn't make you stable. They aspire to everything else in the world that literally doesn't make you stable, and even your seed stable. You dig? And not to say you can't be a rock star and not be stable. But they can't mix like rockstar and step. They can't put those things together.
It's unheard of. And I think hip hop Nakona as such a powerful medium and a soundtrack that sort of dictates how society lives, you know what I mean? I think we have to take some of it on, like as our own doing.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time we've really celebrated everything that's fucked up about just society, about life, about family structure. And
but we must also accept that like we can't change the broken family situation. We gotta be empathetic with it. We gotta be able to, but we also can't sit as if like if I'm saying, yo, I'm married, I got kids, well, blah, I can't also try to hide that and because I'm worried that like someone else who's not married has got a cooler life than me. We also have to make, we have to make our lives like appealing, you know, so someone can go, I aspire to that. I haven't met the one, but I would, you know what I mean? So also nathi masebasibona lapha sizenza ngathi youth, kanti we young, but we don't have, but like, you know, we're accountable. So we also mustn't act like we shouldn't be accountable.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yo, man, umdeni, that's one of the joints in the album. You talk about family, that's why we kind of went into that space, you know what I mean? I mean, look, like there's a lot we could talk about. I'm gonna say on Skim Sam, I thought maybe you were gonna jump on my piano. I'm like, yo, what would X sound like on my piano? But you know, you went on the quieter route, you know? Have you thought that? Considered that?
Is it not a piano? Production-wise, I think that is piano-ish.
Okay, let me go listen again.
Yeah.
Go listen again.
Yeah, Skim Sam is definitely me dabbling into that space, you know what I mean? I just felt like I'm an artist, I can't restrict myself too much. I need to do whatever it is that I feel like I'm connecting to in that moment. And when I got sent that beat, Tom London sent it to me. For me, I'm a lyric, I feel like literally just poured out of me, you know what I mean? So it was a reflex more than anything.
Most of my favorite rappers are either dead or washed up or commemorated via portraits from Rasta. They never made it to the world stage to get their props. Who are some of your favorite rappers?
No, Slick, come on.
It's your lines.
Now you want me to put faces to the lines, you know what I mean? I think people...
No, you don't have to talk about the ones that are washed up then. If you're worried about the washed up side, you know, I'm worried about the washing, you know?
You're killing me, Slick. I'm fine. A lot of my favorite rappers, I think it's widely known. Like, I come from the school of, Slick, you're killing me. Guys,
go watch the old interviews.
Watch all my old interviews and that should tell you the story, you know what I mean? But obviously that was just me sort of speaking about the fact that the baton gets passed on and the next generation get to go further than, you know what I mean? So for me, I'd like to obviously just represent and make everyone who I looked up to proud.
Straight up. By the way, Rastas also commemorated me as a side note.
Yeah.
Father Of Zen, the album is out.
Yes, sir.
Kid X. It's out now. Go stream it, listen to the album. Thanks for watching. I mean, we could have just done a general interview, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we needed to have this conversation. There's so many layers, you know? Yeah. Out here with X, man. Make sure you get that album. Peace, peace.
Broadcast live